He was 106 pounds, needle marks on both arms, homeless on Skid Row in Los Angeles. No one cared, not even him. If someone told you this man would become a millionaire, build a wellness empire, and have celebrities lining up for his products, you'd laugh. But this isn't fiction. This is Khalil Rafati's story. And if you've ever felt like giving up, if you're stuck in your head, doubting your worth, thinking, maybe I'll never make it, then listen closely, because this story won't just inspire you. It'll confront you. Because what if the only thing between you and your future is the part of you that refuses to die in the present? Let's begin. Before Khalil Rafati was homeless, before the needles, before Skid Row, he was just a kid from Ohio, trying to find his place in a world that never made him feel like he belonged. Born to immigrant parents, Khalil grew up in the Rust Belt of America. His childhood was defined by quiet anxiety. He wasn't loud. He wasn't popular. He wasn't the standout type. He was the observer, the kid in the corner of the room, watching others fit in so easily while he wrestled with questions like, am I enough? Why don't I feel like them? Who am I supposed to be? He craved approval, not fame, not fortune. Just someone say, I see you. You matter. Like so many young men today, Khalil didn't want to be a millionaire. He just didn't want to feel invisible. And by his early 20s, he thought he had found the answer. L.A., the city of angels. He packed everything he had into a beat-up car and made the pilgrimage west. Not because he had a solid plan, but because he believed deep down that if he could just get to L.A., something would change. You know that feeling, don't you? That whisper in your chest telling you there's more out there. If you could just outrun whatever's been holding you back. At first, it worked. Khalil landed in Los Angeles and started hustling. He got a job detailing cars. And soon he was rubbing elbows with celebrities, literally. Actors, athletes, rock stars. He was detailing exotic cars for people whose names lit up billboards. The cash was flowing. He moved into a nice apartment. He got invited to Hollywood parties. People started knowing his name. On paper, he was making it. But here's the part they don't put on the vision boards. Success doesn't silence your demons. It amplifies them. Because inside, Khalil was still that scared, lonely kid from Ohio, just in nicer clothes. He'd go home after a big night out, after brushing shoulders with household names, and lie in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling like a fraud. He once said, I felt like a kid wearing my father's suit. I had no idea who I was under all that. The fear? It wasn't about losing money or clients. It was about being seen. Being seen as someone who didn't belong. So he started seeking relief. It started innocently. Weed here and there, just to relax, just to escape the pressure. Then came cocaine. Because why not? Everyone was doing it. And in those high-flying circles, it wasn't taboo. It was currency. But the high wore off. The anxiety didn't. Then came heroin. He once admitted, the first time I used, the pain finally stopped. I felt okay for the first time in years. But here's what people don't tell you about. Okay, when it comes from a drug, it doesn't last. Soon, just once in a while, turned into daily use. And slowly, the dream life he built started to crumble. But not all at once. No, it unraveled quietly. He started ignoring calls from clients, missing appointments, lying to friends, losing weight, not showering. Little by little, the cracks widened until the whole thing collapsed. The business failed. The clients stopped calling. The party invites stopped coming. The fake friends disappeared. And then came the eviction. Suddenly, he was living in motels, then cars, then alleys, eventually Skid Row. And if you don't know what Skid Row is, picture this. Dozens of blocks in downtown L.A. Tents, tarps, broken people, addicts, ex-cons, the mentally ill, forgotten by the system, ignored by society. It's where hope goes to die. And that's where Khalil found himself, dirty, strung out, infected, and barely alive. He weighed 106 pounds, needle scars up and down both arms, covered in sores, suffering from hepatitis C. But the most painful part? He didn't care anymore. He had lost the will to fight. The ambition was gone. The dreamer? Dead. He attempted suicide multiple times. And when that didn't work, he overdosed again and again, 9 times. Imagine that. 9 chances to die. 9 times waking up more ashamed, more broken than the last. You'd think the universe was screaming, "You don't belong here anymore." But Khalil wasn't listening. Until one night changed everything. But before we get there, let's zoom in on something crucial most people overlook. It didn't happen overnight. From outside, you'd say, he had it all and then he lost it. But from the inside, it was a slow erosion. One ignored message. One missed opportunity. One lied to a friend. One more hit to take the edge off. One more night spent trying to feel something. Anything. He didn't fall. He faded. And that's what makes his story even more terrifying, because it mirrors so many others. Maybe not with heroin, but with comfort, with fear, with distraction, with a slow, numbing drift into a version of ourselves we promised we'd never become. Let me ask you something. Have you ever gotten exactly what you said you wanted and still felt empty? Ever walked into a room you used to dream about being in and realized you didn't recognize yourself anymore? That was Khalil, 24 years old, standing in rooms he thought would fix him, only to realize they were mirrors. And he didn't like what he saw. He couldn't fake it anymore. Couldn't keep pretending. Couldn't keep using the noise to drown out the pain. So he leaned harder into the drugs. And by the time the world noticed, he was already gone. It was in a dirty apartment bathroom. He collapsed, unconscious, naked, covered in his own blood and waste. When paramedics found him, he had developed a rare skin disease, necrotizing fasciitis, a flesh-eating bacteria spreading through his leg from infected needles. He wasn't just dying. He was rotting, alive. Imagine this. You wake up in a hospital. Your body is breaking down. Your family's gone. You have no job, no identity, no plan, just an addiction and a long list of people you disappointed. What would you do? Most people would give up, but Khalil didn't. He couldn't tell you why, but something inside him whispered, this is not the end. He checked into rehab again. Only this time, he stayed. No glamour, no shortcuts, just sweeping floors, cleaning toilets, learning to be human again. The humility broke him. But through that breaking came something else, awareness. He began studying nutrition, how the body heals, how the brain recovers. He dove into books on psychology, neuroscience, addiction recovery. He started feeding his body real food, vitamins, fruits, greens. And one day, he blended a smoothie packed with nutrients for himself and his fellow addicts. They said it gave them life. He called it the Wolverine. Word spread. More people came for his drink. He began making them for others. And slowly, the beggar became the builder. He started dreaming again, not of wealth, but of contribution. What if I could help others feel what I feel now? Clarity, strength, hope. That's when SunLife Organics was born. It started with one location in Malibu, a humble juice bar with a mission: love, heal, inspire. And it worked. Actors, athletes, influencers, people who once wouldn't even look him in the eye, now waited in line for the drinks made by a man who once begged for life on the street. But the juice wasn't the product. The story was. People didn't just come for smoothies. They came for redemption. Let me be clear. Khalil Rafati didn't get lucky. He didn't manifest a miracle or visualize his way to millions. He fought hard every single day, through withdrawal, through shame, through the voices in his head screaming, "You'll never be more than an addict." But he kept showing up. He became obsessed with healing, not just physically, but spiritually. He practiced gratitude. He meditated. He journaled. He helped others. He created a culture around his brand rooted in truth, humility, and transformation. And today, SunLife Organics is a multi-million-dollar company. Khalil is a speaker, mentor, and author of the best-selling book, I Forgot to Die. He travels the world, not to brag, but to remind you, if he can rise from a bloody bathroom floor, what's your excuse? Look, maybe you're not addicted to heroin, but maybe you're addicted to comfort, addicted to overthinking, to waiting, to comparing, to hiding behind excuses like, I'm not ready. What if I fail? I'll start next year. Sound familiar? Procrastination is just fear in disguise. Fear of being seen trying. Fear of falling short. Fear of change. But here's the truth. Rock bottom is in place. It's a choice. You can choose to stay there. Or you can do what Khalil did. Look in the mirror and say, I am done with this version of me. Let me ask you something. If you died today, would you be proud of the life you built? Yeah, I know it's a heavy question, but heavy is what wakes us up. Khalil didn't wait until he had a plan. He moved when he had nothing, because staying the same hurt more than risking the unknown. And maybe that's exactly where you are right now. You don't need another quote. You don't need another motivation video. You need to make a decision. So here's the challenge. When this video ends, don't scroll to the next distraction. Don't say, I'll do it later. Later is where dreams go to die. Instead, ask yourself, who do I need to become to live the life I want? What am I willing to leave behind? What voice in my head needs to be silenced today? Because if Khalil Rafati can crawl out of Skid Row and build a global brand, then what are you waiting for? Still feel stuck? Still battling that voice that says, what if I fail? Or worse, what if I succeed and I can't handle it? Then your next step is clear. Backhand index pointing right. Watch this. Stop wasting your time. This video will change your life forever. Watch this every morning. Because real change doesn't happen when you're ready. It happens when you're done. Click now. Let's kill that noise and build the life you were born for.